Hello, my name is Shelley Appleton and this is the relevance of groundwork to ridden work. So what is the objective of horse training? The objective of horse training is for the horse to respond to our thoughts and ideas instead of their own. So for successful thought idea transmission, the horse must understand and accept our thoughts, feel comfortable to respond to them, be motivated to perform them, and a horse that understands, is physically and mentally comfortable and is motivated to perform is set up to grow in confidence in what we expect it to do. Now, training issues occur if the horse is confused, uncomfortable, lacks confidence, or lacks motivation to respond. So let's look at some situations where some of these things are lacking. So first of all, with a lack of understanding. So you want your thought and idea to become the horse's thought and idea by applying a cue or an aid. What's going to happen? What's the outcome if a horse doesn't understand? Well, it might ignore you. And if it ignores you, well, you're not going to get a response to that. Alternatively, the horse might be confused, or because it doesn't understand and you're applying pressure to it, it gets frustrated. And in that case, the outcome might be an emotional response, an increase in anxiety. And if you get that, you've got an increased risk of what's known as conflict behaviours such as bucking. But basically, in a nutshell, you lack understanding. You've got a lack of control. What about a lack of confidence? So you apply your aid or cue to try and influence your horse's thought. What's the outcome if a horse lacks confidence? Well, it can ignore you, again, because, it's not confident in doing what you want it to do, and you'll get no response. Alternatively, that lack of confidence can create great worry in a horse because you're getting it to do something it's not confident with. In that case, again, you've got likelihood of another emotional response. You've got increased anxiety. You've got increased risk of spooking, etc. Again, you've got lack of confidence. You've got a lack of control. What about a lack of motivation? You apply your aid or your cue, trying to influence your horse's thought. They're not motivated. What's the outcome? Or they can ignore you because they're not motivated to respond. Alternatively, they might be more motivated to do something they want to do. But because you've got it constrained in a halter or in a bit, etc., you're going to get irritation and frustration, which means your likelihood of getting an emotional response again. Increased anxiety, increased risk of conflict behaviours again. Again, you've got a lack of control. Horse training can be further complicated though, because horses are not empty-minded robots that we just program with cues. They also have feelings about what's happening to them. They have memories about what happens to them before, and they have feelings about that. But they also have previous behaviours that they've learnt in the past. So the lack of understanding, lack of confidence, lack of motivation can be helped with groundwork. But these things as well that I just mentioned above can also be sorted out effectively and efficiently in groundwork, which can reduce a lot of risk in horse training. Learning how to work and train a horse on the ground also greatly improves your skills in the saddle because it gives you a lot of insight into training. So groundwork can help establish a foundation of understanding, confidence and motivation to take into the saddle. How groundwork connects with under-saddle work though? It's all down to the concept of shaping. So shaping is a training term that means the splitting up of something you wish to train a horse into smaller pieces and getting the horse good at each step before moving on and making it more complex. Every behaviour expected under saddle has qualities and aspects that can be shaped and built within a horse from the ground. A horse that understands expectations, feels comfortable and is motivated to perform in each stage of groundwork has a strong foundation for building under-saddle training. But there's other performance reasons as well. I'm a dressage rider, and one of the greatest epiphanies I had was when horseman Warwick Schiller stated that you should treat everything you do with a horse as a dressage test. Now, we expect our horses to be calm and accurate and obedient in a dressage test, yet is anxious, pushing and not well controlled on the ground. So you're expecting something different from normal to happening in your test. If you aim for calmness, accuracy and obedience in every aspect of your interactions with your horse, then a dressage test is just a way of life. Now, qualities targeted to building groundwork. So performances under saddle are layered with mental as well as physical attributes. So mental qualities include mental focus on you and not the bushes and not the horse over there or the flapping tarp over there. Also acceptance and willingness, not resistance, confidence and motivation to respond. Physical qualities include physical suppleness, fitness and strength. Each of these qualities you need to train, and they are necessary to produce a mentally and physically balanced horse. A horse that's set up to cope physically and mentally with the requirements of its job under saddle. Now, there's a progression of groundwork. You start in the round pen, you then go to groundwork with a halter and lead, and then you go to groundwork with a halter and lead and saddle. Why is there this progression? Because it's shaped by increased pressure expectations. So let's just have a quick look. So with round penning, the horse is at liberty. There is no equipment attached to it. Movement's constrained by the walls of the round pen. So here's our round pen, here's our horse. And what happens? We use pressure to direct and drive the horse from the centre of the round pen. The round pen is where the horse is introduced to us now and how we use cues and pressure. It's basically where the horse learns how to learn. With groundwork, the horse actually has something attached to it. So we connect the horse to a rope halter and lead. And later on, we also include the saddle. So with groundwork, because we have that connection with the halter and lead, we can really target pressure, and we have a greater influence on specific body parts such as the hindquarters, forequarters, etc. So exercises include both what's known as sensitizing, which is directing and driving and getting the horse to move and respond to us, as well as desensitizing activities, which is all about getting the horse to accept and be comfortable with things touching them and being moved around them and making a noise. And we can use the combination of sensitizing and desensitizing exercises to really get the horse quite mentally balanced and give them great coping skills. So in conclusion, we can shape under saddle responses from the ground. Building performance from the ground up targets both the horse's understanding of our cues and aids and our use of pressure, but also their emotions and how they feel about what's happening to them. Because horses act based on how they feel. Therefore, we must aim for them to feel confident and accepting of what's happening to them. We also need to inspire motivation within them to accept and respond to our ideas. Plus, building performance from the ground up assists in developing the horse physically to be able to cope with our expectations. Therefore, gaining an understanding of groundwork training can enhance your performance under saddle. Thank you for listening. My name is Shelley Appleton. I'm from Appleway Performance Horses in Gidgegannup in Western Australia. Please feel free to check me out on Facebook or my website. Thank you.